Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. And, sorry, what is happening here? Ay, ay, ay. I brought a stand with me, so hopefully I'll figure out how that works today, so I don't have to worry about dealing with this anymore. But I'm not sure if it's going to work in the way I need it to. But anyways, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are. Seriously, this, if I'm a little crooked today, I apologize. It's always a rough go when things like to poke and poke and poke, So anyways, all right. I have no idea. I had no idea what we were going to do today. But as I was pulling out the affirmator cards, I saw this and thought, you know what? We've had some heavy days behind us on this show, talking about things. And I thought, you know what? Let's just keep it light for the rest of the week. So, I mean, not that oracles are light, because you never know what's going to come out of them. But I mean in the sense that, just talk about something else. And then tomorrow, let's do some supernatural stuff again, some ghosty stuff. So let's get rolling here. Let's see what comes out. Come on. What do we got for today? I love this deck. This deck is it's so colorful and so beautiful for anyone who hasn't seen it before. That looks like a butterfly, but I know there's like a face in there too. So maybe like a dragon. I'm not sure. But, and actually maybe not. It's just the fleur-de-lis. So it could be that pareidolia stuff where it just looks like something else, or maybe it was designed that way. Oh, I saw that one. I try not to look at them beforehand, but sometimes as you see the way they landed, you can't help it. So anyways, let's see. All right, one more shuffle and see what we get. And then looks like we have 5 in total. So, sorry, my brain is not braining because my brain has not been getting sleep. So, yeah. Anyway, good Lord. All right. Organize here. Good morning, Muddy. Good morning, older sibling. Sorry, ladies. I didn't. All right. Oh, God, my wrist is killing me. Okay, let's go. We got the book. We got this. I know I have some kind of, you know what? Here, I'm going to read this really quick because there's a reason I wrote it. We're not doing the true oracles or Oracle Friday like we used to. We're just kind of throwing anything out there. It's like do whatever you want day. Okay, happy hump day. Oracle guidelines. Number 1, do not worry where the message is coming from. I only work from a good place. So if you're seeing this, there's a reason you are here. And to be honest with you, if you're seeing this, there's a reason we're doing it today. So someone clearly needs it, and maybe I need it. I don't know. Number 2, do not make a card fit your question if it does not resonate with you. Forcing an outcome or an answer not meant for you can cause unnecessary stress and overthinking. Number 3, I will give you the message I receive and the message from the book because someone took the time to write it and put it together. Angels, God, heaven, etc. might come up. Feel free to insert your higher power, universe, whoever you turn your faith to. This will help the flow of the reading without stopping to clarify. So, which is funny because I think I still stop to clarify anyways because, sometimes you lose people, but just, stay focused. So, stay focused. So yeah, I do love, like I said, I love this deck. This is the beautiful woman who did the deck. And, yeah, it's either Fatima Imboja or Fatima Imboja. I'm probably butchering her name. I apologize to her because what a beautiful soul. You can, that smile, that smile. She's just so, yes. So anyways, you're probably wondering why I read the guidelines, because if I don't, then I spend half a day trying to explain it. So I just wrote it down for good measure. All right, let's see. There we go. The first one, nature. Nature. This is beautiful. Tree of life, rainbows. Looks like there's a bubble of sorts in there, or maybe it's just like the moon. But I love that. Rainbows are a promise, right, of a new beginning, a new tomorrow. The tree of life is just, it could be your family tree, it could be you. You are the root of everything you do, and these are your journeys, these are your paths, these are, the things that you've chosen to do. But I know this card because this card came up in a reading a couple weeks ago that I did for a group that I belong to. And it's talking about when you find yourself all over the place, in peril, wherever you are, to step out into nature. Now, I know some people live in cities and nature may not be accessible to you. If you have a backyard, okay, nature is basically saying, if you want to sit next to a house plant and talk to it, do it. If that's your option. If there's a tiny park, that's your option. If walking down a street in your neighborhood, and there's trees, that's nature. Getting out in nature is getting outside. And more importantly, getting outside of your head. All right, because that's what we do. We go for walks to clear our head, or we do other things, or sometimes we just buckle down and don't do anything at all. And I think that's what this card is trying to promote, is saying just get out there, do something. So let's see what it says. Ooh, that's a pretty card. Awakening. I'm going to read that one too because I opened up right to it. So, spending time in natural spaces is one of the easiest ways for your body, mind, and spirit to regain balance and healing. If you pulled this card, then you are in need of a date with nature. Whether it's a day at the beach, ooh, the beach, a quick walk in the park, or even just a few minutes to let your bare feet make contact with the grass, finding time to enjoy the outdoors will be helpful to you. Take a moment to see how your energy flows with even the thought of incorporating a little more nature into your life. Once you allow yourself to connect in this way, you will feel a deeper connection, peace, and clarity within yourself. Good morning, baby sibling. Happy hump day. So, and you're lucky. We're doing oracles today. Miss Thing decided to get off her soapbox for a couple of days and just keep it light. Tomorrow we're doing ghosty stuff. So, nature. Get out in nature. Okay, get out in nature. That is your thing. So I'm going to peek to make sure. Okay. So I'm going to do awakening. Just because I opened, not just because I opened to the page, but because this caught my eye. And it just said to me, read it. Okay. So to me, this symbolizes what this is talking about: finding your peace, your balance, your clarity, your what did it say right here? Once you allow yourself to connect in this way, i.e. this way, you allow yourself to connect in this way, you will feel a deeper connection, peace, and clarity. Deeper connection, peace, and clarity within yourself. A lot of times that's what an awakening is. It's not like you just magically become a different person. No, you're still the same person. There's still the root of you, okay? The root of you, the tree of life, that is still your root. But, maybe your branches are not just blowing in the wind. They're flowering. They're seeding, or whatever they do, seeding. I think that's when they fall, right? They're flowering. They're sitting there going, look at me how pretty I am. Because your life is finally, you found that deeper connection, that peace, that clarity. And so the branches aren't just leafing now, they're flowering. So I don't know the technical horticulturist terms for these things, but so the experiences of a spiritual awakening can be as varied as life itself. For some, it is a series of seemingly random emotions. For others, it is a growing sensitivity to everyday events. I'm feeling all of these things. I mean, I know I've hit my awakening, and It has not been easy or for the faint of heart. For others, oh yeah, okay. So, and for many, it is simply having a desire to follow that which resonates with them in a higher vibration. There is no right or wrong way to go through this experience. You are only asked to remain as conscious and aware of yourself as possible so that you may properly support yourself in the best way possible. Look at it as stepping outside of yourself to observe yourself and your life as a movie that you get to co-create. Remember to ask yourself, how does this person, place, thing, or situation feel to me? Then allow yourself to proceed accordingly. Trusting yourself is of the utmost importance during this time because the more that you feel you can trust yourself, the easier it is to stay in your flow for all that comes your way. So there you go. This is a very important card because, you know, whether you think you're having a spiritual awakening or not, whether you believe in these things, people go through it whether they believe it or not. Okay, they are going to awaken. They're going to come to center at some point. They're going to have that deeper connection, that peace and that clarity. And when they find that, sometimes that awakening can be very disruptive because if you've, you know, you may just be this person that's never had to deal with bad things in their life. And I don't mean you haven't had bad situations, but maybe you don't have a history of trauma. Okay, which is good. But sometimes still that spiritual awakening might feel confusing. Like, whoa, what is happening? This is a change. But for people who have had trauma, it can be difficult because you're so used to living in one way that a new way feels very unfamiliar, very difficult and scary. And so you trigger, and so you kind of are like a feral animal in a corner, and everything might just feel like it's poking at you because it is so unfamiliar. That's where I've had my struggle. My struggle has been that, you know, when you live in a certain mindset for so long, even if it's not a great one, breaking away from that is scary because it's very unfamiliar. So, you know, awakenings can be scary, but I advise that you embrace them the best that you can, because you know what? Sometimes when we're unfamiliar with something and afraid of moving forward, it's because we don't have control over it. And here's the truth about everything, whether it's from an oracle or whatever, we are in the illusion that we have control. We don't have control. We don't know what's going to happen when we go out there and get into the car or go out for a walk or, you know, sit under a tree. Look at Isaac Newton. Gravity, right? Gravity knocks him in the head with an apple. That guy was just sitting there minding his own business and the tree threw an apple at him, all right? And said, hey, gravity. So, I mean, it's kind of a weird example, but the point is that, the hardest part for a lot of people is going to be letting go of the control that they had over their issues or their traumas or whatever, because healing is scary, but it is the best thing you will ever do for yourself. So, you know, try not to avoid the awakening, just embrace it. All right. So the next card, share your gifts. Ooh, share your gifts. Yeah, I can hear a baby sibling and older sibling already going, that's right, Shelley. So, all right, share your gifts. So we have a tarot card reader, we have artists, we have buskers. And for people who don't know what busking is, it's, you know, basically people that play instruments on the thing. Sammy says, I'm picturing those trees on the way to Oz now tossing apples. Right? Right? Those trees were jerks. Assholes. Hey, Isaac. Bam. So anyways, yeah, so you have all kinds of different things in this picture. And this is obviously, I think this is, what is that? Is it Jackson Square? I don't know. I don't remember. Baby sibling. Yeah. So get to writing. I know. I'm sorry. I have been, not in recent days, I'll be honest, because my mind has just been in 1,000 different places, but share your gifts. All of you, even if you don't think you have a gift, you have a gift. Okay. Nobody comes into this life without a gift. And even if your gift is just being a shoulder to lean on or a person to listen, that's a gift. You know, a person that listens without judgment, that's a gift. Okay? It's not always going to be some wild and crazy, like landing on the moon and walking on it. Okay? That's not really a gift. That is called determination and, resilience to make it to that team to do that. And that is the gift of those people. The resilience, the strength, the, not quitting. All right? So, number 8. Ooh, and it's number 8, which, it is Jackson Square. See? Yay! Look, I'm so smart. But I've never been to New Orleans, but I'd love to go to New Orleans. That is on my bucket list. But I forgot what I said. Oh, yeah, number 8. It's infinity, right? So your infinity gifts. So anyways, show the world what you're working with. Although Jackson Square is a historic landmark, today it is also New Orleans' foremost showcase for people looking to share their creative gifts and natural talents. Whether their specialty is fancy food, artistic masterpieces, or intuitive readings, everyone wants to see and be seen in Jackson Square. You've pulled this card because your creative side is calling for more freedom to be shown out in the world. Creativity doesn't have to be limited to activities like painting or singing. You can write. You two, be quiet. You know who you are. You can write, make jewelry. Okay, really, you two, really be quiet now. You can make jewelry, or create anything that you feel moved to create. There is no need for a ready-made place to share your gifts. The more that you choose to do, the more space the universe will make for you to share. I love to write, and I like to repurpose. Old jewelry, and sometimes just make my own designs. But that really kind of started as an anxiety killer. So, anyways, I get it. All right, I get it. The problem is with the jewelry stuff, it's not here. But guess what? The computer is. So, I know, no excuses. But seriously, though. The only reason I'm addressing that is because I see all these laughing faces going up because, the two know who I'm talking about. Probably Sammy, but Sammy is a little bit more discreet, right? She'll be like, yeah, she knows what she needs to do. But anyways, share your gifts. See? Oh, wait, it's probably easier to see it in this. So like I said, you have the person doing the intuitive reading, the painters, the busker. I don't see any food in there, but I believe it's there. And yeah, all in the shadow of, is that a church in the background? I think it's a famous church. But yeah, whatever your gift is, whatever you feel, if you need more schooling for it, if you need more, if you need more schooling, if you need to become certified, or if there's more you want to learn about it, lean into it. Okay. I did lean into my things. So since we're in the metaphysical realm right now, the metaphysical bubble, I do have healing hands. And so I learned how to harness that, into helping other people. And I've also seemed to have made a tiny business out of that as well. So, I know, I guess I did so well that, some of my repeats have finally figured it all out. So anyways, and that's good because that's the purpose, is to get everybody moving on their own and how to use these gifts that they have within themselves. So share your gifts. Ooh, body balance. We have the sun and the moon and yin and yang. Yin and yang. Baby sibling and I were talking about yin and yang yesterday. But anyways, there you go. You got a full moon up here and up here. You got the yin and yang. Honestly, I don't know which is which. I don't know if black is yin or yang or white is yin or yang. So if anybody knows, please tell me, because I don't know. But we have balance, right? We have that, the scales, the Libra scales, right? Right there. So, yeah. And there's a very specific reason we were talking about yin and yang. Oh, so anyways. Oh, look. Peace. Oh, but I think that's one of the cards, so I'm not going to go there. Body balance. I think this really says everything, right? Get your butt out in nature so you have a deeper connection, clarity, and peace. When you find your deeper connection, clarity, and peace, guess what? You find your balance. And here's the thing about balance, right? I mean, you see the scales there. I think one of the reasons that, you know, the scales are such a important symbol is that, sorry, there's a crow outside my window just floating around in that tree. Hi, baby. Sorry. There's only one. I'm going to name it Bunny. So, can you hear it? So, anyway, sorry. Balance. I don't think it's a mistake that crow is here, but probably yelling at me for not writing too. But anyways, body balance. Oh, anyways, so we talk about the scales, right? Because here's the thing about scales. The reason I think so many people use this symbol when they're talking about balance is because anything can easily tip the scales in either direction. And when they're tipped, sometimes we might lose our shit. Sometimes we might go inwards and just get very quiet. It all depends on how people deal with whatever it is that's happening or going on in their lives. But again, when you step out into nature, even if it's just your backyard or your front porch, okay, I know it says to commune in nature, but I also am fully aware of the fact that parks or backyards or things like that aren't always accessible to people. You know, if you're not a person that can grow plants, get a bunch of fake plants and just sit amongst them, all right, on your patio, but get outside into fresh air. Because that is the most important part of nature, is just getting out into fresh air, breathing it all in, you know, breathing it all in, doing the do, okay? So I mentioned my brain is not braining today. So these are things that I think are very, very good to help you, even if you're tired or just kind of stuck inside of yourself. These are places where you can go, again, to find that deeper connection, the clarity, and the peace. All right, so it's also helpful to keep your body in balance. Think of your body as a plant. There you go. Just commune with yourself. Think of your body as a plant. Just as a plant needs a certain amount of sunlight, water, and the suitable environment in order to grow and be healthy, your body requires proper nourishment in order to thrive. The balance of the body can be affected not only by what we eat, but also what we think and the surroundings that we find ourselves in. This card is shown up in your reading because it is time to support your body by bringing it to a higher vibration. During this time, it is recommended that you incorporate more natural and raw foods such as salads and green juices or smoothies into your diet. Okay, that's optional. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Exploring mind, body, and spirit practices such as yoga, tai chi, or qigong, and spending more time in nature will also help you find the balance that your body craves. Ta-da! Nature and body balance. So I'm not going to tell you how to eat because I am certainly not the best at that. But but I will say I'm learning Tai Chi, but I love Qigong. There's a thing I do in the morning. It's like 9 minutes long, and it really kind of moves your body and it kind of gets your Qi flowing, which is why Qigong, right? But also Tai Chi. Now I know not everybody. You know, yoga, I would say, you know, I want to try yoga, but I don't want to follow a YouTube tutorial because I feel like that's for people that already know what they're doing. And yoga is a very, I feel like that's way up there on the whole spiritual thing, you know, especially because it's so much Zen, right? And so much balance. I mean, yoga is basically balance. I think Qigong and Tai Chi can help you, teach you those balances. But also, if you're not the kind of person that likes to do yoga, or, you know, maybe you feel like you can't, here's the thing. If you feel like you can't, and that's why you're not doing it, everybody who started couldn't. Okay, you don't have to be the most limber person in the group. You don't have to be able to touch your toes. You just have to be able to show up for yourself in these things. So, yeah, there are so many different options of it. So, you know, so there's all kinds of things that you can work out. Okay, baby sibling and her boo. That's what they do. They work out. They, you know, I know she did yoga for a while, but I don't think she's done Tai Chi or Qigong, but they work out. That's where they find their balance and their peace. That's where they, come into themselves. And so, and people be like, well, I don't want to go to the gym because people there are mean. People can be mean. Just ignore them. All right. What other people think of you is none of your business. All right. I know it's hard. And here's the thing. If someone's mean to you at the gym because maybe you are not, what they think, gym people should look like, you look at them and say, I'm here, go away. This is, or what is it? Oh, I know. I put this in my story with one of my sassy characters. When your opinion matters to me, I'll let you know. Simple. When your opinion matters to me, I'll let you know. And that's how you respond to people who are mean or being very, just rude. Just really quick as a side note, this video passed by me again. I actually saw it 2 years ago when it first happened, but there's a girl, she is on the heavier side, but she goes to the gym almost every day. She gets looks, she gets comments. A couple days earlier, some guys, followed her out and did one of those stupid coffee things, like, and called her an ogre. And, of course, she goes to her car, she cries because this girl is trying so hard. She's trying so hard. And, that's the point of the gym, right? To not be judged. You're there for a reason, for whatever reason you want to be there, to find clarity in yourself, to lose weight, to gain muscle, whatever it is, no matter what shape, size, or how tall you are, right? Thick or thin. And so this one other guy that she's seen at the gym, was coming up to her as she was leaving. And, he's all, hey, and he kind of caught her attention, and she's thinking to herself, great, here we go again. And all he said to her was, I see you here all the time, and I just wanted to tell you I'm proud of you. And after their very short interaction, I think he said a few other things that she mentioned. She went to her car and she cried because somebody finally saw her. It takes so much less energy to be kind than it does to be mean. So, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And baby sibling and Victor are kind of doing their own little fitness thing. And I have to tell you that he really helped me kind of see myself a couple years ago, which I really think kind of helped me with my self-love. I mean, baby sibling and older sibling and obviously Muddy really kind of helped me with my self-love. I bounced things off of them. I talked to them, but we were at the beach, and this is before I started losing weight. And this is a big dude. All right. This is like, he is a muscly dude. And I was sitting on, just the thing, and I was about to get up, and, when you're a little overweight, you can't always just get up like everybody else. You kind of have to turn over and get up. But, he's all like, here. And I'm all like, well, I don't want to hurt you. And he just says to me, he's all, I don't want to hear you put yourself down again. He's all, just give me your hand. And this dude just pulled me right up. I'm like, damn, one fucking hand. Sorry. It was like, wow. But there have been other people who have shamed me, whether it's directly or indirectly or just posting stuff that just is mean, he came from a place of encouragement. Like, hey, you know what? Okay, you are who you are, but you got to love yourself. And that really, that still, a couple years later, still affects me. Because I really, when I was journaling about this the other night, I really kind of rooted back to the fact that I think this is what really kind of helped me cement the self-love I was working on. Because I wasn't being belittled. I wasn't told not to eat something. I was said, just someone literally lending me a hand and pulling me up. But pulling me up in more ways than just from the ground. It was pulling me up and saying, hey, you know what? You're here. I see you. And that can mean everything. No matter how many people around you that are in your support group, the action of one person can really help define the path that you want to be on. And so for Muddy and older sibling and baby sibling who have helped me along on the self-love journey and the healing journey, this was somebody, that you were waiting for that cringe moment and it didn't come, just like that girl. So no matter what shape, size, or whatever you are, tall, short, thick, thin, find your body balance. Don't worry about other people. Baby sibling said she's stealing that. Totally steal that. You know, that's one of my, I haven't even, so I will tell you, I haven't even written that scene yet, but it's a pivotal scene in a later book that I have in my head. That's part of a trilogy. And she's just this person that was so hard on herself for so long that when, you know, somebody would say something to her, she took it personally, you know, and as I would. And I was just sitting there one day and you just kind of daydream about stuff. And I was just like, wow, I like this line. When your opinion matters to me, I'll let you know. And I think it's not, if you say it in the right tone, I think it will definitely make your point. And if they say something to you, don't worry about it. Just walk away. Walk away. You said what you needed to say. They got nothing better to say. You probably stunned them and now they just want to pick a fight with you. Walk away. Don't give them that power. You have your power. You took your power back and you leave with it. All right. Sammy said that story was beautiful. It was beautiful. The first time I saw that, I cried. I cried with her because I was like, thank you. Somebody sees her. This girl goes there by herself, puts herself out there to be ridiculed by the mean people, but she keeps going. She keeps doing what she needs to do for herself, for whatever reason she's there. And for someone to see her and notice, and, you know, for her to feel like, oh God, here comes the cringe moment, but to get a completely unexpected, you know, response, that was everything. And I don't think it was a mistake that it made it back into my feed somehow. But yeah, we just got to start seeing ourselves in the mirror and practice that self-love. All right. So see, I told you a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Let's do oracles, but also get a little lecture from Shelley Marie. So peace. We have peace. So, and you have I think this is the Om symbol, but yeah, you have a mandala on there, and then I want to say that's the Om symbol, but I don't know. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But yeah, that is definitely, you know, peace. So, you know, this is interesting because the way these cards are working out, oh, that's a good one too. The way these cards are working out is, so far, we had nature, body balance, and peace. And they were all kind of talking about the same thing. And when you share your gifts, believe it or not, when you lean in to what brings you joy. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Sammy says that is the Om symbol. Whew. I see, I learned something on my path. But anyways, excuse me, the mandala, also the mandala. So, God, this is so beautiful. It's like a sun, right? Like almost like colorings of the sun and the moon. So you're finding that, again, you're finding that balance, and you're finding it in nature. And when you share your gifts with the world, you don't know who else you might be touching, but you're also feeding your soul, because you're finally, whatever it is that you do, that you love to do, that is your natural gift, you are putting it out there, and you are letting the world in on it. And you are saying, hey, you know what? If I can do it, you can do it. Okay. So to be honest with you, for that girl that I was just talking about in that video, it took a lot of courage to do that, because she couldn't control her emotions. Right? Sammy wants a t-shirt that looks like that card. That card, it's an awesome card. It really is. I wouldn't be surprised if she probably has t-shirts on a website or something. But anyways, peace, and your peace is valuable. It's priceless. Your peace is priceless. And when people try to interrupt your peace, and, you know, just like that girl, right? We'll use that beautiful girl again. When people try to interrupt your peace, this is how we move away. Just take your peace and go. You don't always have to say something. You don't always have to talk back. You can just say, you know what? I'm out, because you only want to hear your voice. You only want to hear your voice. You're not going to listen to a damn thing I'm saying. So I'm out, because my peace is priceless, and you don't deserve a chunk of it. Okay. So, peace is, you know, I strive for peace. So, outside and inside, outside in the world and inside of my heart. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not always that good with balance. I'm learning. And the next card is actually kind of neat because I have a really good thing that I want to share the minute I saw the picture of it. If I remember when we get to it. So anyways, there are many times throughout our human experience when we make snap decisions from a superficial level without even, when we make snap decisions from a superficial level without even knowing our true desires. This card has come up in your reading because peace is what you desire right now, even if you don't realize it. Currently, there may be too many issues and thoughts swirling around in your mind, keeping you from being at peace. Now is the time to ask yourself what changes are within your power to make that can create a deeper sense of peace for you. To create a deeper connection with yourself at this time and to gain more clarity, it is recommended that you spend some time doing mind, body, and spirit activities such as yoga or meditation. Yoga, Tai Chi, or Qigong. All right. Go on YouTube. Look up all these things. Look up Tai Chi. Look up Qigong. All right. Qigong is Qigong. All right. I mean, you could probably look it up as CHI, but the proper thing in the Chinese would be, or in Chinese would be QI, Qigong. So yeah, anyways, it is also recommended that you spend some time in nature. No matter how small the gesture may seem to you, every little bit counts and is a step closer to your desire. Okay, I don't know who needs to see all these cards, but get your ass out into the world. Okay, just go outside, step outside, breathe in the fresh air. Okay, because all these cards are just like right in there. All right, so, you know, I mean, if you live in Manhattan, you got no excuse. You have a park literally in the middle of your city. So other places, I don't know. I just keep seeing Central Park for some reason. I'm not sure why. Just don't go at night. I'm pretty sure a big park like that, which is like, what is it? Like, how many X square miles? It's a big park. I mean, it is legit big. I've only really had a sample of New York. I've never actually completely been there. I was on a tour bus for 2 rounds before we got on a cruise ship. And boy, that park is big. It is huge. So anyways, but your peace. And you saw how I kind of stumbled over that, right? Because I'm still trying to figure out my inner peace. So find your inner peas. I have a great meme, your inner peas. But yeah, peace. Okay. Find your inner peace. You know, you can do meditation practice. You can do chanting. Okay. Om is a very powerful chant though. So be careful when you use that, because if you're new to it, I know it's going to sound hokey to some people, but if you're new to that particular, tone or sound, just be careful. Okay. Because it is very powerful. So, you know, and you might jump into the deep end when you really should be jumping in on the shallow end. Well, don't jump in on the shallow end. Just get in. Okay. No diving in the shallow end. So anyways, spiritual knowledge. So I did remember what I wanted to say about spiritual knowledge. This looks like a little, it almost looks like a puzzle, right? Like, how do I get in and out? And obviously there's no exits on here, but this is kind of what a spiritual journey in a way looks like, or even a personal journey, or even your journey to peace, or your journey to body balance. It can sometimes look like this, beautiful and mesmerizing, but also like, which way am I going? Because it almost looks like a maze, right? And here's the thing, on your spiritual journey, you're going to run into dead ends. You're going to run into things that do not resonate with you, or you are going to run into things that are just meant for you to let go, to just say goodbye to. It's hard, it's scary, but I believe in you. I know you can do it. Whoever you are out there, I know you can do this. But that's the key. It's about letting go of control. Sibling and I recently talked about this, and I told her, I said, it's just been very scary for me on this path because Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. So older sibling says we're having bad air alerts today and they're recommending people stay inside whenever possible. That's fine. Watch a nature show. Okay? Just imagine yourself in nature. That's why I said, not everybody has parks and trees. I mean, in my dad's complex, there are trees everywhere. I'm literally looking at the trees. But down below is the pool and a big park. Unfortunately, the park has no trees, but they have picnic benches. They have little things you can just sit out there in the sun and just, do your do. And I say no trees right now because it is like freaking late spring, early summer here right now. It is so warm. It's like, baby sibling and I talked about this yesterday. Like we had 2 seconds of winter. Okay. I got to wear my scarf one day with a sweater and my fall look went out the window and I thought, okay, that's fine because winter's coming. No, winter's not coming. Winter took a break. Winter took a holiday and just said, hey, here's summer. Here's early summer. Enjoy. So anyways, when we talk about our spiritual knowledge, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to mean spiritual knowledge. It could be your faith, okay? It could be where you turn your higher focus to, your higher power, whoever you turn to, in your faith. It could be meditation. It could be saying, hey, you know what? I have these healing hands, but they tend to cause a lot of damage. So I need to learn how to focus and zero in on how to use it properly. And so maybe you take up Reiki. Maybe you get certified in Reiki. Maybe you get certified in Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian practice. And that's more verbal than healing. But my cousin and we did a thing a couple weeks ago and it was, I never realized this was in her wheelhouse, but it was a lot of fun. But we did a healing thing and my knee, which is not the greatest because it's been injured several times, was in a flare. And it had been in a flare for almost 2 months and it was just not stopping. And they taught us how to do this stuff. And so my knee, it's doing its normal rickety things, but for the most part, the flare went away. Now you can believe that or you don't have to, but I know because I was there. And here's the thing. We're taught a lot of times to believe in, to not believe in these things, to not say, oh, you can do this, to not, to just say, no, that's the bad people's work. But here's the thing. We're humans. We are water. We are energy. We are thoughts. And everything around us is a vibration. When you pray, you are basically manifesting. I know. You don't want to hear that, do you? But you are. You're saying, instead of saying, I am so happy and grateful that I have blah, 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 or I'm so happy and grateful for this or something better, you're saying, dear God, or dear whoever it is that you pray to, please bring this to me because, I'm in need of whatever it is that you're praying for. Or please help my person over there that is not feeling well, that is, just, injured or, needs emotional balancing or whatever. You're manifesting. We just call it different things. We can call it intentions. We call it manifestations. We call it prayer. But it is the vibration. And when people sit there and go, well, nothing happened. If you're praying for something, but you absolutely have no belief that it will happen, and you're kind of just maybe out there going, well, I'm not sure if this will work or not, but you don't have the feeling behind it, it is probably just going to sit there in the dead letter office of the post office going, the spiritual post office going, yeah, you know what? When you decide to feel whatever it is that you're asking for, then we'll deliver this, okay? Because it is about the feeling. If you're trying to ask for something good, but you're feeling absolutely like shit, you got to balance yourself out. You have got to find a way to balance and find that peace, so that you can come back into center, so that letter in the dead letter office gets mailed, to whatever your higher power or wherever you're setting your intention for. And spiritual knowledge can help you with this. You can still be religious. You can still go to church. You can still go to temple. You can still go to your gathering places and commune with your people. But that doesn't mean that having spiritual knowledge is an offense to that. If other people think it is, again, when your opinion matters to me, I'll let you know. Because what you believe is what is most important. Whether you want to call it magic or whether you want to call it setting an intention. Magic is just setting an intention. But, you know, the movies and the TV make it seem so, so bad. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Something caught my eye because it is weird looking. And I have no idea what it is. And it's moving super duper slow. It's just this white floaty thing. And it's not a cloud. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure this out because that is like kind of weirding me out a little bit. But kind of want to open my window. Let's see. Sorry. Hi. There's my face. Hold on. Yeah, I can't really make out what that. It's the screen. The screen is in my way. I can't really make out what that is. But that is weird. All right, that is weird. There's been some weird shit flying around here lately. Anyway, spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge can be gained through a multitude of experiences and teachings. During this time, you will find clarity and guidance through being open to different types of spiritual teachings. It is not necessary to tie yourself down to just one teaching, but rather go to where your energy leads you. After all, spirituality and connection are not things that can be summed up in just one book or practice for everyone. Take what resonates with you and create a peace within while keeping your mind open to everything. You are likely to find that you are drawn to bits and pieces of different teachings that will lead you to your own organic spiritual connection, experience, and understanding. So I know that I've talked about this before. I don't subscribe anymore to organized religion. That's just me. I do consider myself a non-practicing Catholic, but I'm also very metaphysical. I'm also very spiritual. Some people might call me a witch, whatever you want to call me. That's my path, and that's the way I go. And that has led me down into a wider thing than what just growing up Catholic did. Now, I do know there's some churches that, you know, where it's, even if it's non-denominational, they talk about everything, and they kind of run their I don't want to say their show, but they kind of run their meetings or their services in sort of the way that we're talking now, you know, where it's just like, you know, because no matter what you believe, there's one rule that we all should live by. Be kind. Be kind. Every religion will teach you this. Every belief you have will teach you this. Every spiritual journey that you take and knowledge that you gain from everything is going to teach you that love is always going to be stronger than hate. Kindness is always going to be stronger than cruelty. See, when those kids followed the girl out and called her an ogre, it was unnecessary. So you have to ask yourself, was it really about them? I mean, her, or was it about them? Was it how they felt about themselves? They felt like they had to demean someone to make themselves feel better about themselves. So you have to wonder, what goes on in their personal life that makes them think this? Or is this how they were raised, to just be mean to other people? Or does someone come down on them all the time that they have to turn around and be mean to somebody else? You know, are they so insecure in themselves that they're just projecting? See, it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It really matters what you look like on the inside. Because you can be the most, you know, standard beautiful person on the outside, but you could have the ugliest heart, and no one's going to want to be around you. Oh yeah, there's a Unity church. That's one older sibling. I think her grandma used to go to a Unity church. But it's not denominational. You know, you can be Catholic, Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu. You can, you know, if you don't have a place to go, or you don't want to worship in your youthful raisings, you can, you know, go here, and everybody just kind of communes and, you know, they just love one another. They're kind to one another. They share things. And it's just, you know, it just reminds us that, you know, the bottom line is to just be kind. It's free. It doesn't cost much. And again, the rule we all grew up with: if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just walk away. All right. Now, I admit sometimes my attitude gets the better of me, and when I see things that are not right, I may accidentally open my mouth and say something. Because, you know, I've been bullied. A lot of us out there have been bullied, and we don't like it. But you know, there's a place where it comes from now, where it's like, not, well, you know, I couldn't stand up for myself then, so I'm going to stand up for somebody now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just be careful, okay? Because some people are crazy out there. But anyways, so we had nature, share your gifts, peace. We did the spiritual awakening. We had spiritual knowledge, and we had, oh God, what was the other? Oh, body balance. So, you know, you can apply all these things to your life. And I suggest we do in one way or another. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you how to eat, because even I haven't figured that one out yet. I'm a recovering emotional eater, and I'm not going to sit here and tell other people what they should be doing when I struggle with it myself. But do what brings you joy. Okay. I'm also not going to promote bad habits. I do things the way I do it because I have my own workarounds now, so that I don't go into spirals. I don't go into, you know, deeper, you know, whatever it is. I am currently fighting something a mental cold off. But yeah, you know, I'll get there. I'll get there. And that's my life. I have a dinged up mental health. That's just my life, and I figure it out. And that's what all these cards were telling us too. If you are not feeling like you, it's time to sit down and figure it out. Yes, I'm going to tell you, journal. Even if you don't like to write, journal. See, here's the thing. I think people sit in front of a journal and they think they have to write words. If you want to just doodle in the journal, do it. If you want to write down 10 words, do it. If you want to use it as a gratitude journal, do it. You do not have to be a writer to journal. And I think people overthink the idea of a journal. I bet you there's a lot of people that are not writers, but they're artists, and you open up their journals and it's nothing but drawings. And it might be drawings of how they're feeling. You know, it might be drawings of, you know, what they're up to, you know, that bring them joy, that bring them balance. And that's another thing, another way we can share our gifts. I love photography. So, you know, get out there and take pictures if you love photography. Get out there and write if you love to write. Get out there and, you know, just, if you want to just walk outside because kindness is your strong suit, hey, how's it going? You know, just give random compliments to people, because you never know whose day you're going to make. I had a girl come up to me once, and, you know, I knew I was having a bad day. I couldn't hide it on my face. I don't know if she liked my dress or not, but she stopped me and said, I just wanted to tell you, I really love that dress. It's great. It's great. And it made me smile. And then she just kind of said, you know, have a good day. So I don't know if she really liked the dress, or she just saw somebody who just looked like they were, you know, not just outside of themselves. But it did flip my day back. It's like, okay, you know what? Thank you. I needed that. You know, it just kind of pops you out of it. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. I'm going to look up some good ghost stories this time, because last time when I did the San Diego version, I was highly disappointed. I should have done my research better, and I apologize for that. It was just more of like hidden spots. There weren't really any stories to it. So I don't know where we're going to do it on yet. Maybe we'll just maybe I'll pick some stories from the different regions in California, and we'll go from there. But either way, something better will come tomorrow, because I'm excited. I love talking about ghost stories. And yeah, so I hope everybody, again, has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for popping in. I enjoyed Oracle Wednesday, I guess. This is not really Oracle Day, but I enjoyed doing this. So thank you all for hanging in there, because this is something I needed to, I think, just to kind of step out of the world for a moment and just kind of go, breathe. So I'll see everybody back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelley Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. You can also catch me on YouTube, and then it filters out throughout social media from there. All right. So if you want, you can click and subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate it if you want to. But, if not, just take the message for what it is and, how you can apply it to your own life. Okay, so I'd like to thank all of my peeps for popping in today. Thank you. Baby sibling, guest appearance by baby sibling, but also Muddy and older sibling who are my regulars. So thank you guys so much for being so supportive of all of this, because I know it's time out of your day, and so I do appreciate that. All right, so have a great day, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.